Welcome, everybody. Welcome to TFW Podcast. Starring today, your boy, Eshaun and Rhodesia, a.k.a. Rhodesia.
You're not starting already.
Oh, we gonna start. I thought about my man. I felt bad, too. I felt bad. I'm like, you know what? Mama call her Deja. I'm gonna call her Deja. That's how we gonna roll from now on. But we got the Wonder Twins over here. Matt is on assignment, doing something I have no idea. I mean, we got these text messages. Like anybody who knows, listen to the podcast. No, I don't listen. Don't text me because I'm not gonna read it.
You know that.
I'm not gonna read it. So
AI intelligence on that.
AI intelligence. You know, I get like a summary that something went awry, and that's all I need to know. I don't need any other details than that. So it's just going to be the Wonder Twin powers activating today on this podcast. The great thing with Matt not being on this podcast, freaks, is that we got the hottest, about maybe 40-minute show
33 minutes.
that you are going to listen to. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. It's going to be a 40-minute banger. You know what I'm talking about? He's going to give y'all the deeds. We're going to get in and out. And Rhodesia, I got to let you know, I'm going to be honest with you all in the freaks. Big Daddy has been on vacation. I have been unplugged from the world. I have only been enjoying the hot Florida rays. I have not been on the tablet. I have not been on the iPhone. I have not been on anything. I've been chilling, okay? So I don't know a lot what's going on. So I'm going to listen to Rhodesia. Get me what's the word? A brisk. Is that the word? A brisk?
Or a breast. Get you a breast.
Yeah. It's a breast.
So we talking about breasts and titties already in the beginning of the show.
Oh, Lord, here we go. See, I thought we had a 7-minute thing.
No,
we got to kind of stay
titties is not
in
a bad word, though.
Oh, you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want the kids listening to some titties now. I mean, you know, not yet. No. Hey, actually, shout out to my oldest son, Ethan. He just turned 12. He will be a teenager soon, so I guess he will want to hear about titties in about another year. I mean, you know.
Oh, no,
here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
Well, we're episode 210. And last time we were all together, you were just rocking your R&B Wole type shirt, enjoying the beginning part of your vacay. You came in, you said you slept for the all day. Katrina tripping on you, talking about you're not going to spend time with the family. But it sounds like you had a fantastic vacay. It sounds like you unplugged. That is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to gain like 5 pounds on your trip and unplug. Were you able to gain 5 pounds?
I gained probably about a good 12.
There we go.
I'm going on a hardcore diet starting Saturday. Cause see, that's how I'm punishing myself. I'm starting on the weekend.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But it sounds like you enjoyed your weekend. Hold on. We're actually just about to start with our lead story. Last time we met.
Oh, buddy.
I haven't said what it was yet. Sound like we actually have a guest on the show now.
You know I had to come on here if we're going to talk about Hogan.
I didn't say his name yet.
You know I had to come on here. What's up, y'all?
Hey.
What's going on, family?
Hey, so look, I am on a business trip, and I'm not done, but I had to hop on for a few minutes. Hulk Hogan. So I am sorry to take over and just pop on. I'm popping in, I'm popping off, right? So that's what I got. Actually, before I get to Hogan, I do want to talk about the Cody Rhodes promo from SmackDown on Friday. And Cody Rhodes is showing he is easily a top 3 promo right now in the game of professional wrestling. What he did for Cena, what he did for the excitement level of that match that has had zero heat going into that match, right? They did the whole contract signing 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, and I said what they're trying to do is really hard to pull off. And a lot of people took that as I'm in a double turn. I even touched on it at the end of last week's show. And I said, I'm not necessarily talking about a double turn, not to say that that's not what's happening. But what I am talking about is turning John Cena babyface and having the audience care about John Cena without turning Cody Rhodes right now. And Cody Rhodes did a masterful job on SmackDown Friday of saying what he wants. And I want the old John Cena. And I told Rhodesia when we were watching, I said, if we get the old John Cena, this entire trash-ass heel run would be worth it.
Ooh. You think so?
Because what Cody said was, I want the John Cena who runs to the ring. I want the John Cena with the hustle, loyalty, respect, right? Everything that we know John Cena to be. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go this way. I would do that. I would have John Cena show up to SummerSlam as a babyface, and we just keep it moving through that. We know this is a no DQ match. I'm sure y'all gonna get to your predictions at the end of the show and what you would like to see. But for this match to be no disqualification, no countouts, what do they call it? No holds barred, right? I think is what it is technically. Sounds like a perfect recipe to me. If you wanted to do a double turn, once again, I'm not saying they're doing that, but it is a perfect recipe for Cody Rhodes to cheat when he doesn't necessarily need to cheat. Because John Cena cheated to win the championship at WrestleMania. But I just thought that was just a fantastic promo on Friday night. So kudos to Cody Rhodes for still shaping the game and having us appreciate and look forward to a match that from 3 weeks ago had zero build to now is one of the matches that we're probably most looking forward to this weekend.
And Matt, don't worry, we're gonna do that preview in probably about another 28 minutes.
Y'all suck. Hey, look, so real quick,
Hogan.
Rest in peace to Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan for me is the character that Vince McMahon and Terry Bollea created for us back in the early 80s. Hulk Hogan was a significant staple for me as a child. I had his action figures. He was a real life superhero to me, to my friends back in the day that used to watch wrestling. He was WWF. That is who I want to pay my respects to. Right? The same way, and it's going to not be popular when Vince McMahon finally goes. Right? I am going to speak about him in a highlight for what he has done for professional wrestling at some point. And that's kind of how I feel about Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea died 10 years ago to me. Right? So even when, last week, when the news came down, I didn't feel anything personally. I met Hogan before. Truth be told, Hogan was cool as shit when I met him. It's just funny how racist people can be cool right in front of your face.
He probably thought you was that black basketball player. That's why. Go ahead, continue.
Oh, here comes the money, brother. Here comes the money. That's what he said. But that's I was very uncomfortable last week with I didn't know how to I put it on Twitter. I just copied and pasted the TMZ article, but it got to a point where I thought it was overkill with. I get it, right? I get he was a racist. I get Terry Bollea was a piece of shit. I get that. But the amount of hatred and vitriol that was put out there, I don't remember seeing that type of hatred for like child molesters, for murderers. And I'm big into like I don't live my life in hate. So if I was to do that, it would have been forced. Like it is what it is, right? The man passed away. Wherever he's at, he's in heaven, he's in hell. I don't have any say in that. But all I know is for what Hulk Hogan meant to me. Hell, I am sure I am not on this podcast right now if it wasn't for the character Hulk Hogan. I am not the fan that I am. I am to probably some extent the person I am because what you consume is kind of makes you who you are a little bit. So for that, I just want to say thank you to WWE, to Vince McMahon, to Hulk Hogan for those times back in the day. The person is what it is. I am not speaking on that person because I can't speak on him. On one hand, they say he gave his life to God at some point. But on the other hand, when he had the chance to apologize, he basically said, hey, watch what you're saying because people could be recording you. I can't rock with that. So I just wanted to come out and say that piece. I know there was a few people who was wondering my thoughts on that whole situation. I can't wait to listen back to you two and your thoughts because neither one of us have talked about this yet, about exactly how you guys feel on the Hogan passing. But that's kind of where I'm at with it, and I just wanted to come out and say that.
Nice. Appreciate your words, my brother.
So y'all have a hell of a show. I do have a quick question.
Sure.
Quick. When you think of Hulk Hogan, the character, okay, what immediately comes to your mind?
Man, anytime I think about Hulk Hogan, I think about that theme song, man. And I think about the pose. I think about the All-American. I'm kind of with you on the whole character. And what I'm going to speak on once you hop off is going to be the character. Not much about the man, but the actual character itself.
The first thing, and really the only thing that comes to my mind prior to him being a racist, is
Hulk Hogan wasn't a racist.
sorry. Okay, Hulk Hogan would be the gift that's out there with him spray painting NWO on his semi truck, and they stop at the end.
But that's back to Hulk Hogan being a racist. Hulk Hogan wasn't a racist. So you don't have any memories of Hulk Hogan then, is what you're
Icon
saying.
versus Icon, WrestleMania 18. We talked about that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like for me, it's I mean the music is like legendary, right? But it's Mega Powers. It's the Ultimate Challenge. It's of course him slamming Andre. Like I remember that moment vividly of my aunt calling the house because she called the hotline because nobody was watching back then, of course. And just saying like Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant. We're like, what? Like how? Like what? And we had to wait to Superstars to see it like the next week. Just so many like fond memories. And then you talk about the whole NWO thing. And I remember where I was when he went with NWO and that promo he cut in the ring afterwards and what that looked like and all that. I mean, that's the memories that I want to remember from him because he gave us so many of them. You know, him and you know Vince and him and Bischoff and WCW and WWE. Even the run back, where you just talked about it with him and Rock, right? Like that's one of those moments being in the building that can't be replicated. I talked about it. I said the closest I had been to that was Cena and Cody at this year's WrestleMania in terms of the crowd, how it felt in the crowd. I haven't felt anything like that, you know, since then, between those years, or I guess hell, a decade plus. But those are the cool things to kind of think about with Hogan. Lastly, before I get out of here, Cena and Cody. I know you guys can get to your previews and predictions later on. I gotta ask you right now though. Is Cody Rhodes champion by the end of Sunday night?
No.
I don't think so.
I'm locked in on this show. Tomorrow night when I'm at the airport, I am listening and I'm locked into TFW podcast. Shout out to Rhodesia. Shout out to my guy Eshaun. You hit the whole thing, right? Best Kept Secret in Wrestling podcast. We do the whole thing, right?
You just did it.
There we go.
Hey,
love y'all. I'm out, man.
Love you.
Love you back.
So this is Rhodesia when we start the Patreon. This is some of the things we need to add. Because so Matt logged into the pod, not as a guest, but as a host. And so when he left the pod, he effectively closed out the recording.
Shut this shit down.
So,
we should have walked away. Actually.
So now I gotta. Hey, look, we had a good 15 minutes.
We should have walked away.
That's the TikTok world we live.
Yeah.
That might be this. This will probably be the highest rated podcast we ever had, and we kept it at 15 minutes. Like right. But let's carry on with the Hogan conversation, Rhodesia. Maybe I'll start lead with it a little bit. I know I saw a little bit more of his career than you did, and probably more of the heyday part of it. But as Matt said, you know, the thing about, you know, when we talk about wrestling on this show is that we really play up our age, right? Because we lived the Hulk Hogan era, and it was a very important part of my childhood, the Hulk Hogan era. And as Matt said, and I kind of talked about this on the podcast a few times. For me, I separated the character from the man a long time ago. When we talk about wrestling and the characters, now I know that in real life we use their names, like, right? So there's a lot of, we blur the lines around, are these characters extensions of themselves? Are they the person? You know, for instance, CM Punk isn't CM Punk. His name is Phil. Like, right? And I would say, yes, CM Punk is probably Phil hyped up, you know, 1,000 bars, or maybe not sometimes, right? We've seen All In and we've seen some video footage of the man. Maybe it's pretty close to, but at the end of the day, these guys are playing characters, right? These guys are reciting lines that they're memorized and things they're written out. In real life, you don't get a chance to do those things. So for me, especially the original Hulk Hogan character, that was a character that he was playing, right? Say the prayers, the vitamins, the whole thing was a character. Just like when you watch a movie and Leonardo DiCaprio is playing these guys, that's not who he is. He's playing a role. He's playing a character. Does he lean into it? Does he find inspiration from himself and his experiences? Sure, that's what you do in sales or any kind of profession. You kind of lean into some aspects of yourself to play that character. But that's a character, and the character meant so much to the industry. It meant so much to my childhood. You know, I think I probably got on the Hulkamania train probably like in the middle of it. But that was a fun, important time period in my life, going back to the 90s, the late 90s, when they revitalized the business with the Monday Night Wars. Him joining the NWO and Hollywood Hogan, again, a very important part of my teenage years. And it was one of the funnest times I've had as a fan because it was so popular. And that was a time period where it was cool to be a wrestling fan. You can talk about wrestling and go anywhere with the NWO shirts, Hollywood Hogan shirts. So for me as the character, I'm not going to forget the impact that character, put on me as a wrestling fan. Like, right, for me to blur that into Terry and whatever his last name is, like, I'm either going to Blair, whatever his name is, right? Like, I would do myself a disjustice because now I'm throwing away years I devoted to a fandom because of him. Not only solely because of him, but he was a big part of my childhood, my teenage years. So, I still appreciate that. Now, again, I'm not going to come on here and shit on the man around the mistakes that he made and the life that he lived, because that's not who I celebrate. That's not who I want to talk about. I never got to know the man behind the character. Never. And I know that he himself will refer to himself as Hawk, and he will talk. He calls himself Hulk Hogan, but that was Terry pretending to be Hulk Hogan, right? And I'm not going to get into all of that, but I do think that we talk about death. I feel like it's kind of distasteful to, shit on the dead like that.
Sure, they can't
right.
defend themselves.
I believe in energy, and I think energy is important. Like, I'm a very energy sensitive person, which is kind of why I keep to myself. I feel people's energy, and and if you don't believe in energy, just watch what happens around people. Like, right, the good or bad things that happen to them. Like, you manifest the things you manifest based on what you put out there. And so when you're going on Twitter and you're like crapping this man, and look good for reasons that are very valid, right? Like, he had a horrible tirade about racism and black men that was disgusting, right? To where me personally, I couldn't forgive him. I can forgive him if he apologized at some point and said, hey, in the moment, but he never did that. So for me, he died. I never really forgave the man for the mistakes that he made. But again, that doesn't mean I'm going to go online and just crap on the man because I believe in energy, and that's not something I do. I don't believe in hate. I don't believe in being spiteful. I don't believe in holding grudges. I don't like you, I'm not going to talk about you. Like, right? It's just not in me to do that. So I think that overall, like, that type of hate, we need to get rid of, and we need to appreciate the contribution that he had. Now, again, Rhodesia, it's part of like the GOAT conversation. I was talking to another guy earlier. We're talking about the GOAT conversation, LeBron versus Jordan. Like, right now, typically, if you grew up and you lived in the era of the Michael Jordan, you're going to put him up there. But if you grew up with LeBron and you didn't see Michael Jordan, you didn't live through those games. You weren't outside with them. Yeah, it's like, of course, you're going to like go with the person that you grew up with, right? So I feel like right now, especially our audience, they're younger than us, right? They didn't, as Rhodesia, they didn't see the Hulkamania era. They didn't see the NWO era. So like, they don't have that fondness for the character itself. All they really know is the man that's tried to pretend to be the character on Twitter and in real life and everything else. So just for me, again, RIP Hulk Hogan, but our RIP Hulk Hogan, the character, probably about 10 or 15 years ago. So when the news broke, for me, it wasn't really impactful to me. I'm like, okay, the man was 70 years old. He lived a long life. He probably, lived the life he wanted to live.
Sure.
And, I hope he does rest in peace. I don't want to see anybody, in a bad way, living or dying. So what say you, Rhodesia?
I'm happy that we had almost a whole week to actually give our thoughts on it. And every day I kind of felt a little bit different. When I first saw that he died, I was like, kind of okay, and what's next? Later in the day, I go through all the emotions. Later on in the day, I'm angry, I'm empathetic, I'm angry again. And a lot of the times it was just the noise that made me more angry. Because what I was watching and what I was seeing on CNN was people glorifying Hogan, praising Hogan, talking about how what he's done, all the great stuff on the super high pedestal. And for someone who was, I don't want to say targeted, but was affected by his racist comments and his racist behavior, I'm like, but wait, hold on. There's more to this person here. You can't go on here and praise this guy like a god and then don't talk about the rest of his legacy. And I saw somebody put a comment out there about this, and they had said that being a racist is part of your legacy. So when we talk about something like somebody like Hogan, I'm at the point where the only thing I knew of Hogan by that point, honestly, was him coming back to WWE on the second go around for Icon versus Icon. I would see little things about the NWO because at that point, WWE had already bought WCW. So we were starting to get kind of those other packages that we can see what was happening before. So I have no connection to Hulk Hogan, the character, outside of actually he started us off as a heel in my eyes at Icon versus Icon when everybody in the arena or in the stadium turned on The Rock and clamored for Hogan. And of course, Matt's like, you just don't understand. You just had to be there. You just had to be there. And again, people's fandom is people's fandom. I look at some of the people that I look up to and I admire, Albert Einstein, Elon Musk, and you're in that same predicament. Can you remove that person from like what they do personally versus what they have achieved in life and what they have pushed forward in life? And it is such a fine line. And kind of where I land at with this Hogan thing is I'm kind of like just a net neutral. What I want to address is that when I was getting angry and was like, fuck Hulk Hogan, it was on the energy of me seeing people saying, oh, he was the greatest person to ever do it. He did this and that and that. I allowed those other people to affect my being to the point that you had just made already too. It's like, it's what you attract. It is what you have in your energy, in your circle, within your being. If you're allowing those thoughts to come in, more of those thoughts are going to come in. So when I finally had to say, you know what, this is the world, this is TikTok world, 15 seconds and it's all over after 2 days. Next week is the last thing that we can even remember. Kind of like SmackDown. I don't even remember having SmackDown. But with Hulk Hogan, for me, I'm at a point where I am just net neutral. I think for most Black people, they feel like wrestling fans, huge wrestling fans. Hulk Hogan died to them 10 years ago, almost to the day that he died 10 years ago to them. And we've already mourned him. We've already got the FU Hogans. We got the poetic last time he was on WWE TV, us booing him out the building. I wasn't there, but and even at home, us booing him out the building. I think that probably was for like someone like me. I got my shit off, for lack of words. And now I can just say, you know what? It's net neutral for me. Again, you wish no death on anybody. And some of the people on the internet was completely out of this world. Like, you have to be just doing that just to get clicks and to just get reaction and engagement. That you really shouldn't feel that way. Because if you do, maybe you should get right with your God and get some peace in your heart. But also, I have to say, I cannot stand someone who was not part of that group of people who were affected come on their platform, whatever that platform may be, and tell us to chill the fuck out. That you don't have a right to say. Well, I guess it's a free country. You can say whatever you want to say. But At that point, you really can't. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to have to hear you say, you know what, stop talking about a dead man like that. No. Let me be and let me feel the way that I feel about it. So there was so many different sides of so many different anger points. And a lot of the people has come out and said, you know what, Black people, and I'm using this generally, saying Black people, I'm sorry that Hogan did that to y'all. When I repped for him, I didn't realize that he had did all this other stuff. And that, again, now it started making me feel better. Because remember, I'm super angry. You got this man as the second coming of Jesus. Now, what is it called? Like the water levels out. Yeah. And at this point, again, I just said as a net neutral, because although he didn't affect me one way or another as far as my childhood, but hell, if Hogan wasn't around, I probably wouldn't be on this podcast because the podcast probably wouldn't even have happened. So I can appreciate him for that, just like I can appreciate Albert Einstein, like I can appreciate Elon Musk for what he has done. But at the same time, I could still be a net neutral for that person. So I guess I'm going to say R.I.P. Hogan. Because if I don't say R.I.P. Hogan, it would feel like I have some extra negative energy on him. And I just don't. It's just numb.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, I say R.I.P. man.
Yeah.
I feel like because it's energy, like right, like I want when I pass, regardless of how you felt about me, like right, I would hope that you would want me to be at peace and I can move on in a positive way. I hope that if you believe in reincarnation and all those things, I hope that he can reincarnate into a better person, right?
Or into a black
hopefully
man.
a black person. Yeah, right, into a black man, right? Into a black man, so he can feel the pain, so he can know the struggle.
Now, you talk about manifestation. He called that shit. He said, he didn't want to have to come back, die, and have to come back as a black family. Maybe that's what he is. Maybe now he's back.
Hey, he gonna be reincarnated black with a big long dick, and he gonna say, "Oh, this is such a big hype, brother." but I'm really, I'm big into like what ifs, right? Mm-hmm. I would love to know your opinion of Hulk Hogan if you actually had experienced like Hulk Hogan at his peak, like right in the 80s and his late 90s. And again, as African Americans, we still will feel the way we feel about the man because if you've never heard the tape and how vile it was and how disrespectful and hateful that it was, right, you won't really understand. However, it does, again, for me, as you said, 10 years ago, whenever it happened, I RIP the character. Like, okay, Hulk Hogan that I know, right, passed to is gone. In this place, it's just hateful, bitter, broken man. And again, RIP. I hope he, there's a heaven for Hogan.
You just mentioned that about what you thought my thoughts would be if I was around. I would probably say I'll be closer to this conversation when Vince dies, because I did put Vince in such a huge light. I enjoyed hearing about his tenacity, how practically he took the company from his daddy and shot across the whole country. Like, that's admirable as far as being tenacious and getting what you want out of life. And into all those things came up, I wasn't like, fuck you, Vince. That's so I think when Vince goes, that's going to kind of be where I'm at. And I think I'll probably be more of the let the man rest in peace. He got kicked out of his company, and all that, so forth with that.
Because if you want to talk about karma, in a lot of ways over the past like 15 years, his life hasn't been the greatest for the Hawks.
Right.
Like he's had money issues. Mm-hmm. He's had health issues. Mm-hmm. So the man has paid his toll for some of the actions that he's made over his life, as anyone will, right? So again, when you're online and you spit and hate, it comes back to you some type of way. So you guys got to think about that. But let's get off a negative topic, Rhodesia. What we got else on the tally?
So right now we are going to talk about Raw, SmackDown. We don't have to touch on SmackDown because Matt came through representing the whole Cody and John Cena promo. That's pretty much the only thing I would ever actually want to talk about from SmackDown from this last week. One, mainly because it's almost 7 days ago. But ultimately, that was what we were getting out of it. We're going to get the go-home show for SummerSlam this Friday. But for Raw, I don't think you saw it, but at the end of Raw, we got an absolute ass whooping of Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, Detroit style. My man Bronson Reed beat Roman. So actually, it was Bronson. Both the Brownies attacked Jey and Roman. And they ran Roman for his Jordans.
Oh, what?
They beat his ass so bad.
They stole the man's shoes?
Almost caught him.
Oh, that's disrespect,
man. They took homeboy's shoes off, both of them.
Look.
Both of them. Bronson up there talking on his shoes like, what? Smelling this shit like, boo. Like, they ran him for his shoes in Detroit.
Wait a minute, pause. You got to know, like, that got to be one of the most creative, like, storylines ever. Because, like, to a black man or anybody who's in the shoes, because they ain't just black man now, right? Because a lot of people,
A sneaker game.
It's funny. The Topanga. You know Topanga's a shoey?
No, I did not know that at all.
Oh, she's a big shoe head. She has like a whole closet just devoted to her gym shoes. She got a whole setup and everything like that. So
fire.
It's beyond us. Like, and we know the importance of stealing somebody's shoes. They had that man go
He
home
ran over-
barefoot.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
Lord!
Luckily, Roman had on some clean black socks because
I'm
my
gonna say, was
man.
it black and white? Was it because it was
They're
white?
black.
It'd been a problem.
Black with some
Okay.
white stitching on it. I was just like, oh my God, indie trade. Like that is probably, for speaking to like us, like the young culture, I'm calling us young, but like the hip culture, that's something like that's like the ultimate disrespect. You either run somebody's chain or you run somebody's shoe, you jack them for their shoes. So they ended up taking Roman for his shoes. They have videos online showing Roman walking up the ramp, exiting the arena barefoot. I was like, well, I guess they're gonna get some get back very soon because you just can't do
the
that.
heat on that program is turned up 1,000% already. Hey, you know what? And Vince would never, right?
Vince would never. He wouldn't understand what that means.
Ring. He like,
and he went, what?
Their shoes?
What's up with the shoes?
A J? A J? Ridiculous. Man, that's actually, I'm gonna, like, after the show, because I started to watch like the highlights, but I'm like, actually I want to watch the show. So I'm gonna probably watch the show tonight. So I'm gonna definitely check that out. Yeah, that turned up the heat on that one. It's SummerSlam and it's turned up the heat.
Yes, yeah. And then and I actually kind of bypassed it. I mean, this was just because it spoke to me so much about running somebody debo and get your shoes deboed. Like, but before that though, it was a good piece of business as far as the beatdown. I mean, they gave Jay and Roman the business. They were so dominant, even to the point where there was a part in the ring where Roman went to try to get Bronson up on his shoulders. But again, Roman being the consummate professional, he tried to get him up there, putting Bronson over. He can't lift him up. Ain't nothing really happened to Roman that much for him not to be able to get him up on his back. But it's like those little things that, like, at the end of that night, outside of him jacking his shoes, you're like, the Brownies are fire and they're dominant. And so that was like the huge thing. Then when he went and took his shoes, I was like, oh, hell no, I'm done. I'm all the way done. And then you got the executive producer, Lee Fitting and Triple H. I was like, okay, so bravo to them. So for me, I would get really uptight about go home shows for the big pay-per-views and PLEs. At least for Raw, I think they really, like you said, turned that heat up like big time.
I'm actually maybe we can talk about this match and get over with, because I don't think it's officially announced yet, because it wasn't on the card that I saw on SummerSlam. But this matchup with the Brons versus Jay and Roman, I think the thing that works so well with Bronson and Brons, that their finishers both look great. Like the Tsunami, they've really hyped somebody like that's a powerful, devastating move. It looks good. It looks impactful. I don't know if anyone's kicked out of it yet. They probably have. Everyone kicks out of everything nowadays in today's wrestling. But that's one of those holds and moves where they should protect it. Like that's like that. Like only one, like maybe once a year or two, or somebody kicks out of that. That should be like when he hits the Tsunami. That should be it. And also Bron's spear. Like he has the best spear. His spear is goated. It's the best looking one, right? So at the end, for a beatdown, if they're just running train, lack of words, with a Tsunami, the spears, it's just gonna look good, right? It's gonna look impactful. It's gonna look like it hurts. So that's what makes like their finish like that much more effective. And I just think about on the podcast, just right now, like I really think that they should probably maybe make the Browns just a tag team and make them the biggest, most dominant tag team in the history of the business. They can do that, and they just run through everybody. They're just squashing everybody, right? Like there's no one that can stop them, like right. And so they can put the tag team titles on the map because now it's important enough because you got these guys in the AKA Empire, whatever it is, and they can have different combinations of single competitors trying to go up against them, right? Because on the Raw, like it's a little bit shallow on the tag side, but you can have guys like Randy Orton and I don't know, somebody teaming up with them to go against these guys, and they can't beat them. And then there's another two guys join up to stop them. They really can elevate those titles, and then maybe in another year we get the Lucha Brothers back, and maybe they're the guys that can finally defeat these guys. Because the possibilities are numerous with those guys because they're both so effective in what they do. Rhodesia, let's just stay with this match really quick. If you were booking, this is kind of the theme on SummerSlam right now, because we got about 15 minutes left for the show. If you were booking, if the pen and paper were in your hands, who are you booking to win this match between Jey Uso, Roman Reigns versus the Browns. Who do you got and why? Who would you book to win and why?
The why would be, I'm going to go with the Brownies. Why I would go with the Brownies is because the momentum is there. Now, of course, you could say Jay losing again, but it is a little bit different because Jay is now with Roman. Matt came on here last week talking about Roman just want to be away from home. He just need to go to work. That he even take the job for Jay. So let Roman take the L. Let them lose. Let the Brownies win. And why? Because there is momentum right now with the Brownies. When you had something like Seth not being here, that's how I'll leave it for right now. Seth not being here, so be it injury or not injury. It was like, for me, y'all were on a good trajectory. Y'all were heating up. Y'all were getting where I wanted you to go. Something like Seth not being here is a massive blow to that. And to be able to still feel that energy off the Brownies, and to the point that you were talking about protecting the tsunami. Well, newsflash or spoiler alert, they took some tsunamis. And the crazy part about it is because when they took it, you knew it was done. You knew they weren't getting back up from that. That was like one of the telltale signs that they're done. They're whooped. They're beat up. You're not coming back from that. You taking the spears. You're not coming back from that. But because you have had for the 15, 20 times tsunamis beforehand, you made it that important. That's why last night beatdown was just something incredible. So for me, they were hot. They were heating up. Seth goes down. Huge blow to their team. We still have some traction here. Keep it going. How about you?
I agree. I would, if I had to pin, I will book the Browns to win. I want to continue to build momentum. For them being like this devastating duo. If Seth, and it kind of depends on the availability of Seth. You know, if we get a Seth Rollins sighting and we see him pop up in the main event of SummerSlam, him cash in, you know, it will kind of change some things. Mm-hmm. But if Seth's going to be out for some time, right? If Seth's going to be out for some time, you got to keep those young men hot. And to be honest with you, if I had to pin and I didn't have Seth, I would book Jay to lose. Because at this point, Jay has already shown that he can take a loss and he can still keep the crowd behind him. Now, if the crowd believes that he can win the big one or not anymore, that's one thing, right? But he can still can carry his popularity and he can lose. Maybe it depends on what you're doing with Roman as well. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the next thing for him? Is Roman going to vanish again for another 4 to 5 months? Because if that's the case, he can surely take the pin.
Absolutely.
He can give the young guys a rub so they can continue to be a bigger threat to when he comes back, right? Because that's what you ultimately need. You need more people at a higher level. So when Roman is going to have these one-on-one matches with these guys, you can believe they're a threat to him.
Yep.
Like right now, if he would have wrestled Bron or Bronson in a singles match, you're going to think that Roman Reigns is winning that match.
Not after last night's beatdown, I'll tell you that much right now.
So yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing that. But hey, Rhodesia, let me ask you a question. So I want to talk to you about Brie Bella really quickly. Now the conversation wasn't that big of a deal to me. She was on a interview. I'm not sure the interview she was on. But she alluded to that she has not had contact with WWE. And she thinks that the reason why she hasn't had contact with WWE is because her husband works for AEW. Now, you know, Brian is not only a major star for the company, he also at some points were part of the creative team and has a lot of pull. To me, I don't think that's that big of a deal. You know, I don't think that would be a reason why they wouldn't want her. And that would seem kind of weird, right? Hey, they're sisters. You know, the two of them are close. I'm going to reach out to Nikki. I'm going to bring her back, but I'm not going to talk to Brie. Like, right? I kind of feel like that would be a weird dynamic to put sisters in, you know, from a professional or personal standpoint. So it could be something else. But before I go to my second part of my question, Rhodesia, what do you think? Do you think that's a reason why WWE will hold her back? And how do you feel about that if that's the case?
So I actually listened to it was her podcast, the Nikki and Brie show. So she kind of was doing it solo this episode. And so I actually listened to that whole thing in the whole 40 minutes that she went on. And
oh, wow, you're dedicated.
Yeah, I think that clip was taken out of context, but I think it's by design. That's what we do, right? We want things that get people talking. The whole point of what she was saying originally is about the season that she's in her life to begin with. That's pretty much was the whole premise of her whole episode. She talked then about how before, because everybody asked her, no matter what interview she's done, the question she can no longer avoid was the whole, when are you coming back to WWE? So she even made a point to say that, hey, I would just tell them that they haven't called me. She'd say that wasn't even a real thing. That was just an answer. And that a lot of times they would shut the person up who asked her the question and they can move on to the next one. So finally, because she's in this new season of her life, that she's like, well, pretty much of, let's just be honest, like my husband works for the rival. She made a comment saying that there's somebody in WWE that isn't cool with that. So for me, do I believe that part? I probably do. I probably would feel like, hey, my husband works for the competitor. Someone evidently within WWE has a problem with it and don't want her to come back. Now, she never said that they did or did not call her. She never said that she would or would not go back. So like I said, that clip was a little bit kind of out of context, and it was so super quick in her whole actual thing, her whole podcast. It was such a quick comment. So the question to me was, should WWE not call her because of that? No, WWE called back Bret Hart. WWE had, how many people done came back? Bruno Sammartino got inducted into the Hall of Fame. CM Punk came back.
CM Punk came
so
back,
if you could do that, I mean, see, Nikki/Brian ain't do nothing to WWE.
Mm-mm.
So why would you not? So to answer your question, not necessarily what she said in its entirety, to your question, no, I don't see why there would be a reason why you wouldn't, especially when you were coming up on the Evolution, where it was an all-women show again. When you have Nikki, because again, it was the Bella twins. Their majority of their career was Bella twins until kind of Nikki went off on her own and started being the Beyonce of the group of Destiny's Child.
Yeah, right.
But no, I think that it was either maybe one, they just didn't really call her, or maybe they're just not really checking for her one way or another. And she almost made it sound like even if they did, I probably maybe not do it. So that's what I said. The whole actual episode, that is, I'm surprised they took that out of the whole episode, because that really wasn't even a focal point at all. And it was just more of her saying now that she doesn't just lie and say they don't call me. She just came up with something else. Like, well, good. Maybe it's good that they don't want me to be kind of a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I feel like that's a weird thing to pull out. I mean, people are weird and have different weird reasons why they don't do things, and wrestling's a little bit different. But I feel like if there's business to be made, as you said, and you brought up CM Punk, because like the Bruno and some of those were Vince calls. Like Brett, that was a Vince thing. But more recently, CM Punk being brought back with Triple H, kind of instigating it, right? Like, hey, being willing to let bygones be bygones, because they had a personal issue with each other back in the day, or maybe with more Punk over CM Punk, who knows? But they seem like they have a good relationship now. So if Punk can come back, I seriously doubt that they're holding a thing against Brie because her husband works for the company. I mean, whatever, right? Yep. But my next question, before I'm uneducated, what's Nikki Bella's match on SummerSlam? Does she have one yet, or what's the big thing that she's doing?
I'm gonna pull up the card, so I don't know quite yet.
Because I looked at the card too. I don't think I saw Nikki's match just yet. But here's my question. Do you think Brie Bella is just smoke, and she's gonna be a surprise, fixture on the Nikki Bella match, and we're gonna see them reunite on SummerSlam?
If she does come back after all of that, I would probably say that this was a better sell job than Seth Rollins not faking his injury. So if she does show up as a surprise at this point, I probably would say, damn, you fooled me. Because again, listening to the whole podcast, you have a glimpse of her mind of where she's at in life. Like, she's not really checking for it. But again, it's probably because they're not checking for you either. But she ain't checking for it. But the timing, all that works. Again, this being clipped out of that whole 40-minute podcast, maybe there's something to it, but I don't think so. No. And so if she does come back, yes, I'll be hella surprised and say, give that girl an acting job.
Because the reason why I say that, because her husband Brian, he's a liar. He likes to lie. I think Cody's one of those guys too. They love, like, with the current thing of like, hey, I'm gonna get over by telling you something that's fantastic, right? And then I'm gonna do the exact opposite. Like he said, he likes doing that. He said in multiple interviews. Yep. So I can see Brie maybe putting this out there to kind of put some fires down. So when she pops up, it's a big surprise to the marks on the internet. Because I want to say, as soon as Nikki came back, and maybe it was Nikki, I'm not sure if it was Brie, whichever it was, but they were saying like, hey, there's a chance that she can come back. Oh yeah, Brie's getting ready. And like, this was kind of a thing the whole time as Nikki was kind of getting ready to come back to the company as well. Now all of a sudden, they ain't talked to her. She ain't checking for him, and she don't want to be there. Right. Exactly. So it just seems like it's timing right now. So that was my question. Like, oh, I wonder if she's coming on SummerSlam, but I don't actually know what Nikki's doing at all. So maybe.
Again, she didn't imply at all that she can't go in a ring. She didn't mention anything like that. But it's funny because how this stuff is starting to bleed. There's two ways I wanted this conversation to go. I'll touch on one for just a hot second because I know that you haven't seen it at all because it debuted last night. And I want to get Matt's opinion again after he watches it because I know he's going to want to watch it. And then also another possible storyline that I don't know anymore if this is real or fake. I think the second part is fake because there's some other underlying reasons why I think that. But WWE Unreal did debut last night. I actually had a chance to watch it.
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it a lot. It's a 5-part or 4-part docuseries. And I'll just touch on this. They talk about kind of the CM Punk coming back. Right now in the glimpse of time, it's pretty much Netflix debut. So episode 1 is pretty much the timeline of Netflix debut. And like I said, and they kind of address all those things. And for me, like I said before, after I was going through my feelings on this curtain letting down the fourth wall, if the wrestlers are on board with it because it's their lives that they're portraying, then I'm okay with it. Who am I to hate on it? But really love the show. And like I said, I can't wait till next week to actually deep dive it after y'all have a chance to watch it. Probably some of the best stuff that I've seen on professional wrestling. But fake or not fake, Drew McIntyre is allegedly stranded in the UK. He allegedly can't come back to the United States because I'm assuming he doesn't have his passport. Have you heard anything about this at all? Because he's supposed to be in a match this SummerSlam.
I have no idea. Now Siri did send me an AI message that you and Brandon were in the chat talking about it. So the only thing I know of is what Siri said that you guys were just briefly discussing in the chat about the missing passport. It's easy to FedEx a passport. And if you WWE probably has an account and it will give them a significant discount for shipping. Actually, I know for a fact they have an account. Part of my business ties is in that community, and I've dealt with WWE employees. So they have an account. And, with international shipment, now it's not as many options as there are locally, but there are very fast options to FedEx someone a passport and they can get there in a couple of days. So if this passport was lost a few days ago, a week ago, they could have went into an office. They could have used their account. They could have shipped that bad boy, and it probably been to him in 2 to 3 days, and then he can make the show. So is he stranded? We'll see. I know that Matt is hyped that if he is stranded, he wants to see Miz take his place. And my boy, I'm not interested in that. Now, what I would like to see if Miz can get my man Carmelo in on the match instead, that'd be a bigger win for me in the community. But I digress. What do you think?
Oh, I just think that is bullshit. Just because from what we've seen, and it's funny because even like a news channel actually reported it. And I'm just like, oh my God, like the age that we're in as far as technology and information getting out there and some of it being fake news or not. But like, even though, because he mentioned that he has dual passports. So even if you travel abroad with your Europe, your UK passport, you never really truly mentioned what happened to your US passport. You never really said if you did lose it, if you just left it at home. It was just that you can't come in because of the passport situation. So like you said, so he had to send his wife home. Then why couldn't you just turn right back around and get on an airplane and come right back and bring you your passport? If you reported this all a week before SummerSlam, just like to the point you said, even if you just had this FedEx, like to me, I just think it's a lot of bull crap to get us talking. And I think they're doing a good job. But again, even though I'm like the whole fake news thing, I think I'm kind of enjoying this because it's getting me back to that. I don't want to use the word mark, but get me back to this fan that don't really know what's real and what's not real. And in return, if we are able to not have Drew in that match, because I don't think Drew should be in that match, but if we could get Drew out of that match, introduce Miz and or now Carmelo, I just think that would be a lot better. And now you actually brought a tiny bit of excitement to that match because the person who was supposed to be in here is stranded over there. So again, I think it's all fake. And I think that what they do is they take advantage of circumstances and try to, make it better for them and the story that they're telling. But Drew, I think you can hop on a plane and come back right away. I don't think there's any problems at all.
Yo, let's stay on the SummerSlam hype because we got about
Let's go.
8 minutes
Actually,
left.
that's it. That's all we have for the show. Pull up the card.
Let's talk about that match, right? Because we got Jelly Roll and Randy Orton versus Drew and Logan Paul. If you had to pin, who are you booking to win and why?
I don't really want to answer that because I don't care. Like when it comes to like the celebrity matches and those kind of stuff like that, you already know that I don't like Logan Paul. But if we are on this whole RIP Hogan and we can remove the character from the person, the human person, fine. To me, I just don't really care. So if I'm booking,
but let me take it back. Yeah, that's what it's about. Because like Triple H said, hey Rhodesia, I don't know who's gonna win these matches. I need you to book the finish, and he gives you the pencil, regardless of who are you booking to win these matches.
I would say again, if I'm forced to, and then the reason I don't know why. Right now, I'll go with it's a celebrity match. Logan loses all his matches anyways. Let's just say if it is Drew McIntyre. Nope, let's go with Logan Paul wins because there is going to be some issue with his partner and that confusion is going to cause it to actually be the reason why they win. So I'm going to go with Jelly Roll taking a L and Logan and his partner winning.
For me, I'm booking the match. Again, I'm kind of with you on the whole, again, I like Logan Paul, his wrestling character. Again, I don't know anything about the guy, what he's done or his background, anything like that. But for his wrestling character, I like it. I like Drew, big fan of his, and Randy Orton is Randy Orton. Jelly Roll, I'm not familiar with the man. Actually, I did listen to 2 of his songs. And I ain't gonna lie to you. See, growing up in the mean streets of Detroit, Rhodesia, you wasn't around back then, but I was out there on these streets, and I was out there in the streets in Detroit.
You do realize
really
where
hard.
I'm from was way rough than yours.
But you met me when I changed my life and found God, though. So you don't know how I was back in the day.
No,
but back in my day, all I listened to was Tupac. I'm not worldly. I didn't listen to a lot of country. I didn't listen to a lot of other types of music. However, I did listen to a couple of Jelly Roll's tracks. And they're nice. I'm starting to kind of expand my music a little bit. I'm getting into a little bit of pop. I like some of this country I've been listening to. I'm actually kind of trying to open up a little bit. But saying all that, say this: I will book Jelly Roll to win. I think it's a good business move, right? Because I will have a Jelly Roll splash. I call it the roll of the jelly, right? The roll of the jelly, right? And now we
should edit that out though, because I don't want WWE selling that and not paying you.
Okay,
for that.
That might be. Maybe I'll take that snippet out and then we'll sell it to WWE so it can be fun to Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
But you can clip that him winning and hitting his finish or whatever the case may be, and that can continue to get some interest and some buzz outside of wrestling. So I think from a money making perspective, I definitely would book that just for that one reason to generate some business, because I'm all about have more eyes on the product so you can continue to grow.
Okay, so from one match that nobody cares about to another match that nobody cares about, I'm joking here.
You right. Just keep rolling.
We're going with the 6 tandem tag team match, 6-person tag team match. I'm sorry, 6 tag team match. We have Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy. We have Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, Fraxium. We have Johnny and Tommaso. And then we had I actually don't even know if they had a TV entrance lately in the last couple months, but so we have that match for the tag team championship.
Wait, who's that last tag team? I didn't.
Oh, Motor City Machine Guns. I was pointing to the Michigan, going bang bang.
Okay.
I know you haven't seen it on TV for so long, but that's how their actual entrance used to be. So,
terrible music.
I kind of liked it though. It was cool. Okay, so at this point, we know that Street Profits dropped it not too long ago, kind of in like a what the F situation, and then Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis won it. At this point, where do you want to see this tag team division go? So if you had the pencil, who's winning and why?
Man, on SmackDown, they have some nice tag teams that are very talented. Berto, Angel, the Prophets, Tommaso and Ciampa. I feel like they just need a good writer for the division because they can really turn it up just with the work rate. It's lacking something, and I don't know if I want to have Dexter. And I'm a big Bray fan, but I don't think this version of the Wyatt 6 works. I think take the belt off them guys, do something different with them, give it back to the Prophets. Because this is what if I had to book it, this is what I'm doing. I'm giving the titles back to the Prophets. I got Ron Killings running down, interference, giving them the championship, and now you got Truth, you got the Prophets, and you got Carmelo uniting a new faction on SmackDown, bringing the heat. That's what I want to see on SummerSlam.
Sounds good. I'm sorry, and I also forgot to mention Andrade and Phoenix. On SmackDown, from what I could remember, they actually had a pretty cool video package, them being Andrade and Phoenix. Why did they have that? Again, is it something just to get more interest around this 6 tag team TLC match? Who knows? But I kind of like the energy and the vibe that they were on. And again, I don't know where WWE has both of these guys pegged, but they kind of came together as a tag team. Feel like it was makeshift. I like Profits getting it back, but then you know how I feel. I think we kind of all feel the same way as far as somebody having belts and then dropping them just to get them right back pretty quick. Like, what's the point of it? Does it make sense to do that? We can probably argue that because even on the tag team side, just in general, Triple H has kind of struggled with that. But just because I saw their video package, no, I'm still roll with the Street Profits too, because I'm gonna be a complete hypocrite because that means Wyatt 6 would be just dropping it again too really quickly, and that made absolutely no point and no sense. So I'm gonna go with Street Profits winning, getting it back. It's a TLC match, so maybe it's some way of giving them homage or giving them kudos from that TLC match they had after WrestleMania that they tore the house down on. So I'm gonna say Street Profits as well too. I don't know about Ron Killings. I know y'all super hype on him.
Come on with it. Come on.
Next, we have finally on U.S. soil a match with Mr. Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn. And on Raw, whoever loses will have to admit to the other person that they were right. So again, kind of cheesy when Sami kind of said it, because Kross was like, listen, when I beat you, you got to do me one favor. You got to tell me that I'm right. And Sami came back and retorted. It was like a backstage interview. It was kind of cool, kind of cheesy. But again, I'm so excited for both of them equally. Who I want to win on this one? I think I want Kross to win. And if he loses, then in my mind, I feel like he did not resign, because the rumor is still saying that he has not resigned. I don't know why WWE would have somebody in that light, having segments, showing up on TV every week, even though not in matches, but showing up on TV if you haven't secured his contract. But I'm a Karrion Kross chick, so I'm gonna go Karrion Kross just because, again, it's kind of like, hey, you've been putting in the work, even though you haven't had a match really in forever, except for in Saudi.
Yeah, for me, I will book Karrion because we'll talk about deserve it. I feel like his character deserves a true chance. He's finally starting to pick up some steam. The crowd's kind of getting behind him. He's always had something from a character standpoint. You can say what you want about his matches, but from a character and the look between those two, he and Scarlett's a beautiful woman, but the two of them, the package together looks phenomenal. And I don't know about the contract stuff. I'm with you about, like, you're putting a lot of TV time in a guy. Now, just recently, right, because the fans are kind of pushing WWE to kind of put him on TV because he wasn't getting no play for like a really long time, right? But due to the fan response, they're doing something with him. However, if he doesn't sign a new contract and WWE does let him go, he is ready-made to go on AEW television and explode. If it's 90 days, whatever it's going to be, he is a creative guy. He will go. We've seen the type of promos he can cut just recently on the behind the scenes stuff. If he goes to AEW, he is going to go ape shit with promos, and he's going to not necessarily turn the business around for AEW, but he's going to give you another reason to turn that programming on. I believe that if he gets unlocked in AEW, he will become must-see TV over there. So they need to sign this man, and they need to give this man a proper push because they got a lot of TV that they can give to a character like him, and I want to see him.
Yep. All right, next let's go for. Let's see here. I'll jump here because it has it next here. We have actually the tag team of the beatdown from last night in Detroit. You got Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I think I said give it to the Brawnies. Roman take the L and keep them moving.
Same. Yep. We already covered this one. We can move on to the next one.
Cool beans. The U.S. Championship, sticking with the bloodline, we have Solo Sikoa and we have Jacob Fatu. This one's a steel cage match. So, of course, we know this is prime and ripe for a lot of tomfoolery with a steel cage match. I don't think I've ever seen, forget a bloodline steel cage match. I don't think I've ever seen any steel cage matches that it was just a steel cage match with no interference. I guess that's a whole part of the game, right? There's no DQ. So, who, again, got the pin, who you booking to win and why?
So, and also I'm under pretense in my mind that I have all the toys available to play with, right?
Sure.
So I'm booking Solo to win with Tama now back from injury to run interference. So I'm going to continue to stack the deck against Jacob as much as I can until I have Jacob Fatu just running through the whole entire crew once they all get together. Like, so for SummerSlam, I'm penciling in Solo with another win due to interference from time to time.
I agree with that. Again, it's a cage match, so however you get there, Solo will win again. Keep Jacob, since you took the title away from him, keep building that underdog but dominant underdog Jacob story and empathy. Keep it going. Keep it going. Next, we have in the Women's IC Championship, we have Lyra and Becky. Again, I think there's some stipulation there. Lyra loses. She could never go after that championship again so long as Becky Lynch has it. So, who are you booking to win and why?
I'm definitely booking Becky to win because she's too hot as a champion. She needs to continue to be a loudmouth, dominant champion. Lyra can take the loss, and you can probably move her to a different brand. You can probably re-up her and move her to
which one?
SmackDown.
Move Lyra.
Yeah, move Lyra to SmackDown so that way she can challenge for the championships over there. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Becky.
I'm going with Becky, but I'm going with Becky with the intentional interference from Bayley. I don't know how that's going to look out and how that's going to play out. But yes, I'm going to say Becky's going to hold it. Becky's big enough and has been so good on this latest run of hers. I don't think she needs a championship. But does that mean that we should take it off of her? Not necessarily. So I'm completely fine with her maintaining it. So All right, we're moving on now to the Women's Tag Team Championship. So we have Judgment Day, Roxanne Perez, and we have Raquel versus the new cute team of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss.
Have you seen some of their TikToks or whatnot?
No, but I still feel like when they had that women's match on Evolution and Charlotte embraced her in her bosoms, like, I got you, baby. Like, I just felt that energy, and I just think about that all the time. But no, I would imagine that it's probably something along those lines, or is it quite the opposite?
I haven't seen the SmackDown stuff, but like their Twitter stuff is Alexa encouraging Charlotte to be a ham. Like, right?
Okay.
And she's doing a good job of it. So we talk about, Charlotte rebranding herself.
Yep.
Being something other than the dominant, overbearing, champion. She's really showing a different side of her personality and her character in this tag team. So when we talk about who would I book, I'm booking Charlotte and Alexa to win.
Whoa.
So I can continue that dynamic. Whoa. And so then, like the eventual breakup, like, right, has to come, right? And I think it's with Alexa turning heel onto Charlotte, because continue to make her as sympathetic, and how she can have that baby face run she wants, and maybe Judgment Day can regain the titles again at some point. Because I just feel like Raquel and Roxy as champion is I don't say it's stale, but it's not a lot of heat to it either, at least for me.
Oh my God, no. Alexa and Charlotte's going to lose. We got to keep the championships with the Judgment Day only because of the story that they're telling. And I think Roxy just gave Dominic something yesterday. I couldn't make out what it was. If it was like a video game, maybe the new Switch or something, and it was just for him. I think there's still some more story there for her to say, because I've been with Judgment Day that this has been happening. I mean, even mentioned it on commentary a couple of times. So again, maybe
she doesn't have to be champion to tell that story, though.
That's true, but since I've been around, I've been able. Everybody in the Judgment Day is holding gold, so it's something that Liv has never been able to do. So I just think there's still a little bit more story there. I am going to write that they retain because of that factor. And it's Charlotte and Alexa. Matt had made a comment last week about putting Ashley Charlotte with Alexa, and because Alexa has like the excitement around her. And like I said, I don't know if I said it here, if I just told Matt one-on-one, I'm like, I don't get this excitement for Alexa Bliss, because I just feel like when she left, there wasn't a lot of engagement for me as a fan for her, but the fans love her. And just even like yesterday, like they are crazy for her. And again, when you have that, brava, keep that and run with that as long as you can. I guess that's like, to your point, hey, let them win the championships. But I don't think that is needed. But I am surprised, though. I know I asked last week about the support for Charlotte. What about the support for Alexa? Like, I don't know where it's from, but it's there, and can't fake that kind of stuff. And when you have it, you try to bottle it and keep it going. All right, so they get to touch for real. They had a match, like a tag team match, but now we have AJ Styles and we have Dominic Mysterio. They actually get to go one-on-one at SummerSlam. Dom has been ducking him since really Saudi, and allegedly with an injury. And now we're here, the two of them. Who is winning and why?
I would keep it with Dominic, so you continue to have the Judgment Day thing. I think that it's important for him to continue to have the championship, because he kind of can be like a honky tonk man champion. I know you didn't see that era, but just the heel that everybody thinks they can beat, like, right? But he somehow keeps squeaking out wins, when he probably shouldn't, right? So I feel like there's something in to when the person finally gets it. Now AJ Styles, this is supposed to be his last go round, but right now I think they're kind of pumping the brakes, because like if I'm AJ and I'm kind of pumping my brakes on that, because AJ Styles last year is running into the John Cena last year, and you got to make one important, right? You can't do both. John Cena means a little bit more to the WWE than AJ Styles' run does, so I would rather give AJ his flowers after we're done with the John Cena thing, and then you can kind of hype the AJ thing, maybe his last couple months or whatever. So once John Cena's kind of gone away and he's retired, Now you go, hey, you can continue to prop up AJ, and I think that's when you start, giving him some big wins over wrestlers at big moments.
And to that point about the getting them big wins and giving AJ his flowers before he leaves, I don't think you're going to say you gave him his flowers by having him win the IC championship from Dom. I just don't think the story is here right now for that. Like, if you're going to give him his respects, again, it could be for a title or not for a title, but like you mentioned, have some big wins and some big matches. That to me, I think is not right now. It's not with Dominic either. So why even take the championship away? I know probably the way they've been selling it to us that he probably should win because Dom has been this little like slime ball weasel of trying to get out of it with a fake doctor's note. But again, I wouldn't just see the purpose of switching the title over to AJ Styles and then calling this that final run, especially since he said that this is his final run, unless he's doing his Bryan Danielson and he really isn't leaving.
He goes on a second run after he wins. Yeah.
Yeah. We've already talked about that one. Let's move on to what can be the match of the whole weekend. So we have the triple threat women's championship match between Rhea Ripley, Naomi, and Io Sky. Who you have winning and why?
I'm picking Naomi to retain because she just got the championship and she's on fire right now. So I feel like you keep that momentum going, and then you have her lose the championship if she needs to lose championship at a major pay-per-view against somebody who can need it. I don't really like championships changing hands in multi-person matches.
Yeah, it kind of feels it feels like lazy booking, actually, like lazy storytelling. I feel
like you miss a moment, right? Because it's
Mhm.
a singles championship, so it should be a singles match, right?
Mhm.
But when I was reviewing the card myself, I really thought, like, you know what? They can really continue this Rhea Ripley Io like feud into WrestleMania next year. Like, right?
Absolutely.
Like they're always in these multi-person matches. No one's getting a clean finish over the other. And then finally they get the explosion at WrestleMania. Because then maybe by WrestleMania, now it's not the respectful, like, hey, we just want to have a great match. I want the best woman to win. At that point, maybe they can build some tension to where, like, yo, like, this is it. I'm tired of you. I'm going to beat the brakes off you at WrestleMania because of all the build and tension they've had throughout the year. So they can probably continue to do that in this match. And with that being said, Naomi still slithers away into retaining the championship.
Same here. She's just too hot. You let her keep that. You let her run with it as long as she can, as long as she has the fans going with her, reacting with her. Let her run with that title. Even yesterday, they still brought up the fact that Rhea can't beat Io. Again, when that does happen, like you said, just like when you drop your title, don't let it be in a triple match or what I call it, a triple way.
Triple way.
Don't have it in a triple way. You just can't. Like that. That's reserved when you've built so much equity in that storyline. It's reserved for a singles match. So everything you said. Next is the other women's championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. I think we both aligned here too. Who you looking to win and why?
I'm indecisive, man. Rhodesia, who you got?
I'm going to go with Jade. I think that at this point, it's almost like, and it feels bad that we'll be taking it off of Tiffany, but I think if we don't put it on Jade now, are we about to miss an opportunity of trying to stamp Jade as something important? There's no denying that she's not important. She is of another entity, another universe. But I just feel like if she doesn't win it here, then I think Jade would then always be like right here. And this is not where I want her at. I think she can be a face of the company. And if she doesn't win it, unless you have something crazy and a Bianca comes back and interfere. But outside of that, because if that happens, then hey, then Tiffany will retain. If it's just a straight up singles match, have Jade win it.
This is a tough one for me because when I look at and I haven't seen SmackDown in a couple of weeks. Actually, I went to sit down and watch it, but my recording device stopped working. I'm like, God damn! I sat down. I want to say Sunday to watch me some good old SmackDown, and my Android device went black on me. But okay, so it seemed like they were kind of moving Tiffy in the heel direction, which I think, from again, you got to separate the character from the person. But even when you watch Tiffy on TV, their character seems kind of heelish.
Yeah.
Like, right? And the character has always been the heel, but the fans turned the character babyface, right? Because of the reactions that she was getting. But the character itself is a heel character. But I can say the same thing for Jade. Like, that character, she is a heel.
She is.
Right? And I don't think that the crowd is fully behind the character of Jade Cargill. I think a lot of it is due to the way she carries herself, because she carries herself like an arrogant heel. So I think they should lean into that. I think that she can be a big heel in that company. I don't think the time is now for her to win a championship. I feel like there's still some legs in Tiffy as a heel champion, and I know that babyface rising up to take the title from her. And I don't think that's Jay in this moment. Maybe we do get some shenanigans that causes Jay to lose the match, and that's kind of the scapegoat that she can use to why she couldn't retain. She couldn't win at SummerSlam. So I'm going with that. I'm booking Tiffany to win with some kind of shenanigans on the outside that cost Jay her win.
Cool. And now, last but not least, we have the undisputed.
We got 2 more matches.
What's what we have before the main event?
Gunther and Punk.
Oh, sure do. And then it's not even on here. And
that has to be probably because we got a 2-night card. So
that's probably Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll probably say so.
Yep.
So let's just roll with that. So who do you got? Who you booking to win that match?
What did we talk about months ago when Matt mentioned that this would be a reality? We said Cody would be the Summer of Gold. I think I said, and I'll stick with, no, Gunther will retain, because again, we don't know if Seth is really hurt or if this is fake, and Seth is going to come back to interfere with CM Punk possibly winning the match, and him interfering so that Punk doesn't get it. I can see him getting it and having a great campaign with Seth, and they go back and forth. But Gunther, we talked about, there's not a lot of great, just authentic heel characters at the top of the card on the men's side right this very second that's built as a heel. I would probably want Gunther to retain, unless you got a really great story that's coming up. Because again, in my mind, if Seth is back in action soon, I can see him going to be winning it. They keep trying to do, though, he has until next June to cash in. But I think that's kind of just a diversion, smoke and mirrors there. If he can be back on the board and he can play, I think that Seth is going to win the championship soon. So I can actually see it going either way. He's taking it from Punk. But I just think that Gunther is a heel, which they need, just a good old-fashioned heel. And I want him to, I don't think he would be as entertaining without the championship. Not even saying he's massively entertaining, but I just think that he would completely drop down a lot if he loses it, and they need that heel man there. So I'm gonna go with Gunther retaining, and that would be me booking it too. If I had the pin, that would be what I'll do.
If I had all the toys in my toy box that I can play with, I'm booking CM Punk to win, and then I'm booking Seth to cash in and take the championship away from him, to continue that story of Seth, like, hey, you are never coming close to this championship, right? And in some perspective, there's some issues with his knee. Him coming in and doing a quick curve stump and taking the championship, right? He can do the Roman thing. Like, Roman didn't defend this damn championship for 7 or 8 months or whatever it was. And he got away with it, right? So he can come in, cash in, take the championship, and then go back and recover. And we won't see him again until Royal Rumble or something like that. I can see that. That could happen. So if Punk if Seth can come in and give me a curb stump and give me a pin, I'm booking that for SummerSlam. If Seth is unavailable, I'm booking CM Punk. I'm booking CM Punk to win because I feel like the company is still on a high somewhat, but I feel like they still need a little something. And I think that CM Punk as a popular champion will kind of continue to build some interest for the brand. I just don't feel like you got Gunther as champion on one brand, right? And he's a heel, but he's not an entertaining heel. And I don't think he's a draw as a heel either. And then you got John Cena as a heel, and this is a very terrible heel run he has. I don't feel like you have two bad heel champions leading your brands. I think that's part of the problem with what we've been seeing on these shows is that the champions are just so underwhelming. Not underwhelming, but I don't think they're hot in their role as champions.
Alrighty, you said Gunther's boring before the winning championship and now after winning a championship. All right, so the main event, but we are assuming is Sunday night. Actually, we know it's Sunday night. They actually have the graphic for it. So main event for Sunday night, we have John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. It is going to be in a street fight. So again, tomfoolery is going to happen. I think at the beginning of the show, Matt asked us. I would say that John Cena will retain. Why? Why? Because of all the reasons why I said earlier. Actually, I didn't really say anything on this episode, but I just don't think this is the part. When we said that maybe SummerSlam Cody can win the championship back, I just don't feel like it, because again, it could have been the run that Cena has had. I just don't see it worthy enough for Cody to get back at this moment. I don't feel like it's hot enough for when Cody get it back. Kind of like we talked about the triple ways. Like it got to be a little bit more meaningful. Again, we know John Cena's on a clock, but I just don't think that right now it's going to be like, oh wow, Cody won the match. Like, okay, he probably should have. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I just don't think that it's right for him to get back this way.
I agree, but call it. So like, right? So I don't think that Cody can lose clean. So how does he lose? Like, how does he lose this match? So it's a street fight or whatever it is. Like, right? There's going to be shenanigans. What shenanigans can happen at the end of a 2-night event that can justify, that being there? Like, right? What can potentially happen that costs Cody a win? That's not necessarily satisfying, but it makes sense. Like, oh, that's why he lost, because John Cena can't beat him clean. Like, I don't think, not in a match like this. It can't just be another kick to the nuts. And like, right, we got WrestleMania. It can't be another kick to the nuts, and then Cody goes down. What can possibly happen in this match that causes Cody to lose again?
But it's called a street fight. So once you put that gimmick out there like that, things are supposed to happen. If not, it wouldn't have been a gimmick match.
But what do you think is going to happen though? You think it's just going to be this? He just cheated with a steel chain and he rolled him up or something like that. What do you think? Are we going to get like a run in?
If I had to say, okay, we know there's going to be some interference or it's going to be something happening. I'm going to say it's not going to be from anyone else other than John Cena. So if John Cena wins, I think it's going to be something that Cody does, or John Cena will do that will cause John Cena to retain. I don't necessarily think it's going to be somebody else that's going to come and interfere.
Like, I don't know who can come in and interfere. To me, again, I'm all about saving my big name talents. So I got to give Cody an out, like, right, that he can kind of talk about, like, hey, this is the reason why I lost. But in a lot of ways, to be honest with you, if I could, again, I don't think Cody is ready for the double turn just yet. Because when Cody turns heel, it's going to be great. Because we know he can be a good heel. He's smart. He's intelligent. He can cut a nasty, mean promo. And then 2, my girl Brandy going to be with him. And she's a heat magnet. So you're going to have the Rhodes family out there cutting nasty promos on the audience. I'm all for that. I can't wait to see it happen. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen this weekend. But I do want to see John Cena go back to being John Cena.
Yeah. Yep.
I would rather see John Cena going back to being the John Cena that we saw against Rock. like, right, just cutting down his opponents, right, but being staying true to who he is as a character. I feel like that's the way he needs to ride out, because what he's doing right now is not working. I don't think the fan wants it. They want to cheer him anyway, right? So turn the dude back and have him be more of an edgy babyface. Have him be more of an edgy